All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Happy Friday. I just hope you guys are having a great kickoff to your Independence Day weekend. If you're tuning in, of course, here in America, if you don't already know, most of you are probably already on vacation. I've had a lot of autoresponders, people saying out of office till July 5th. So today, I have an amazing, beautiful friend and guest. You've seen her before. You'll see her again. Just a little foreshadowing of a few things we're going to talk about later. But I have my beautiful friend, Monica Dubay, who's the author, best-selling author of Heal Your Mind, Heal Your Life. And we were talking about this definition of freedom, Monica. And Independence Day is a big history, like a historical event here in America. And yet, right now, the freedoms in America might have been compromised. I'm not going to go political, just saying, but there's a lot of people who are not happy right now, and there's been so much anger, hurt, a lot of emotions going on, really since 2020, and we want to talk about what you guys can do, what I can do, what Monica can do to really go inward, because that's all we can control, right, Monica? We can't control all of the things out there. We can only control our minds and our hearts. So again, if you're just joining us, I'm Coach Lois, podcast host of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, sales trainer. I call myself now a transformational sales trainer because I, along with Monica, we're aligned in this vision of, healing salespeople one mind at a time, and really connecting with that message today with independence and freedom. So Monica, if you want to share briefly a little bit about yourself, and then I'd love for you to talk about the subject, independence and freedom.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Lois. It's so great to be here as always. It's so exciting, actually. I think we're on the brink of a whole new adventure in consciousness on our planet. And so it's really exciting times, even though it feels really super chaotic. And that's a good sign because it means things are crumbling. Systems, patriarchies, thinking you have to do things a certain way, letting go of trying to get it right. The whole thing, the whole paradigm of push, go get it. It's really crazy, but it doesn't really work very well. Only for a few. And divine feminine energy is coming into fruition finally on this planet because it's time for this divine feminine energy to come back home to where we are and to lead people out of the darkness and out of the force and patriarchal, don't care who I hurt, I'm just going to go get what I want kind of attitude. And so I love that we're doing this in the business world because we're redefining how we do business, right? There's so much disruption. There's the Airbnb and Uber, and they're all coming out to disrupt the status quo and how we thought it was supposed to be, right? Mm-hmm. Things don't ever stay the same in this arena, which is third dimension. There's never a moment where it stays the same. And people who like to be in control get very angry when they realize they're not in control. So it brings up a lot of fear. And nothing wrong with that. That is actually what we need to do, is have our fear be brought up into our awareness as a species so that we can learn, right, how to surrender and let go of trying to be in control and in charge of everything. So that's an internal job, though. It starts with you recognizing where you're out of alignment with being happy and being joyful and being free and being innocent like a child. Like we're meant to be light beings and healers and lovers and be passionate and really be on our game. And we've been distracted with worldly things for a long time. So as we go through this portal, it's a real it's kind of like squeezing us out of the past.
The birth canal.
Yeah, the birth canal, exactly. Because, ye must be born again in order to get this. And I don't mean it in the traditional sense. I just mean it in the sense that the human species is evolving out of fear, fear-based systems, so that we can really truly shine our light into this so-called world, right? Which is not a real place. It's an objective world that we have designed. We can get into the quantum if you want, but it's really about the whole is in every part. So each of us has to claim our wholeness and our perfection and know that we don't have to earn this. It's about stepping into much more freedom, much more multidimensional awareness, and really getting on board with your inner transformation. That's how we're going to change the world. We can't do it any other way. It's not an external thing.
Yeah. Yep, the old-fashioned way doesn't work. I just want to acknowledge Sean Waite, who is here celebrating us. Thanks, Sean. Happy Independence Day weekend. So if you're just joining us, you can comment below with questions too, by the way. We're only going to stay here. This isn't a quote-unquote regular show. It was impromptu, spontaneous, which you guys are going to see more of. And, I actually talked a little bit about what we just shared, and thank you. Last night, I had a huge announcement of how I'm relaunching my podcast, celebrating 2 years on July 20th. Monica's going to be there. You're going to see and hear things differently. We aren't going to focus a ton directly on the quantum. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe. We'll find out. I'm curious to see how it all unfolds because I don't live in that control world anymore. So, because I was always like, as a business owner, you talked about businesses shifting, right? I was always like having to set goals, having to check off all the boxes, Monica, which was a very, to your point earlier, it was the masculine energy side of the brain, which is the analytical mind. And you and I both know how imbalanced we have been for a while as a globe. On that left analytical mind. And that's not true freedom, is it?
No. Well, there's no freedom in being in a state of analyzing. And that's not to say it's bad or wrong, because it isn't. Because we have a brain, so we have to use it. It's not about rejecting anything. The new species, the new evolutionary step is for us to be inclusive of everything, our bodies, our minds, all that are conditioning. Just include it. Okay. Because you see how when you embrace something, you can love it rather than rejecting and trying to, people say, I'm trying to get rid of this. I'm like, just love it. It'll melt. So melting through love and embracing, it's the divine feminine. It's the mother's love. The mother will love and forgive and love you no matter what you do or who you are. You're like, the mother loves you for who you are, being who you are, and knowing you're going through a lot of mistakes and failures, and that's part of it too. It's all just part of the fun, being a human being and really awakening to the next level of consciousness.
I love that you've been my lifeline, just so you guys know. This is why I also have, I want to make a couple of quick announcements if you're just joining us. First of all, we're talking about the transformation of the planet, really, the collective. If you've been feeling like life has been really challenging or difficult or weird because there's so much external chaos, again, depending on how you perceive it, right? Good or bad. We're not even going to go there. It's just, how is it impacting your mind and your internal? And so Monica, along with a bunch of other guests, are going to be a part of my 2nd year anniversary podcast launch. I'll put the link to sign up in the comments. I'm going to give away $2,000 in coaching. There's going to be a lot of fun. And Monica's going to be one of the guests who helped me personally transform my mind as I was seeing things, Monica, like the fear, oh my gosh, the shame, the worthlessness, the judgment of myself as not a good mom, not enough, not a perfect businesswoman, all of it, right? These labels, this chatter that was coming through was really hurting my heart, like physically, and my stomach, and for years, I'm going to make a point and ask you a question here, but for years I was stuffing it down, working over it, drinking over it. I didn't want to feel it because I thought, we're not supposed to have problems. We're not supposed to talk about them. We're not supposed to feel pain, right? We're just supposed to be happy all the time. Isn't that what all the good self-help books say, Monica? Right? Yeah. And then I'm like, screw this. I gotta listen to my body because it was pretty loud. and saying it's time to embrace the shadow and the light. And so over the last 18 months, I've been in that journey, and you've been one of those people to help me. So I want to turn it back to you in explaining, maybe in your own way, what I just talked about and how we're all going through this. And this is okay. This is beautiful. This is actually a gift and a good sign that you are coming into your truth, your true freedom, and your true independence of being, a sovereign being. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I try to stay out of concepts about it because, people talk about it like it's this, it's that. But the point of it is your experience is yours. And this is the awakening of the species. And I've been teaching A Course in Miracles for 30 years. So it's, they say that there's only the universal experience that we can agree on. We can't agree on theology. We can't agree on, what we believe or our philosophies. We'll never agree. But it's a universal experience of awakening. It's not, it has nothing to do with what we think about it. It's an awakening. So it has to be experienced. And that takes commitment, dedication, devotion to your own healing of your trauma and your shadow and the past and ancestral lineage. And yet I want to say to everyone that there's a celestial speed up. It doesn't have to take a long time. We're not going to use the methods that we used like 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. We're being shown much quicker methods of healing that pattern, those patterns. And, like the ego's not going to give itself up. So it takes a confrontation with your higher mind is always confronting your lower mind with, hey, I get that you think you're lacking, but would you like to give that up? Because it's not possible for you to be lacking anything. You're whole and complete, and so you're constantly as you awaken. And I was with an Ascended Master for 12 years. Like it's a constant conversation. He'll walk down the stairs and he'll go, what are you doing in that fear? Come on out of there. And you'll just be like, oh, thank you. like you just can, it's much faster now. And yet it's important that we not rush it. So be patient with it. I think patience is my biggest word lately, is patience and trust. Because as you're awakening, your brain's going to think all kinds of things about it and come up to conclusions. And it's never right. It's always like just making stuff up. But your experience is like giving birth. Like all of a sudden that baby's there and you're like, wow, I did that. Like, woo, it's a miracle. Those kind of miracles, it's like being in love and falling in love with that child. Like, it's like, oh my God, that's what it's like to wake up to who you are, to see yourself as that innocent baby being born into a whole new world, because the world is a product of our imagination.
Yeah, I love that. And oh my gosh, it's already 13 minutes. I did want to just let you guys know that the podcast anniversary link has already been shared. It's on the screen right now. So Monica's going to come back and be a part of that to celebrate the relaunch, the rebirth, as I have, gone through working on healing the ego, healing the wounded subconscious, tapping into my superconscious, also known as higher self, and really connecting with my truth, which again comes back to our topic. We're talking about independence and freedom. If you free your mind and truly, truly go within to allow some of the fear and the shame and the things that I know I've personally experienced, so much can change and shift for you.
Yeah, it's being willing to take a look and not make it mean that it's not you. I mean, it's your identity, but it's not you. Your identity is based on fear and shame and guilt because you think you're separated from the creator. But that isn't you. That's your identity. And it does feel like a death sometimes. It does feel like you're really like dying to yourself, but you're dying to be reborn to the light beak that you are. And this might sound really weird and esoteric to a lot of people, but I've been in this field for so long that to me, this is just how it is.
Yeah.
And it does require that each of us find our own way to do that, perhaps, but also not make anybody judge anyone for how they're doing it, not doing it. And be aware that once you find your way, you stick with it. You go as deep as possible. You don't keep switching to another path, because you won't go deep enough.
Then that's the yo-yo dieting. That's the buy one course, only then to buy 5 more, to hire one coach, and then hire 6 more. We do have a quick question, Annika. Do you have like another couple minutes?
I do. Yeah.
So let's answer this quickly, and then we do got to close because I have a call in 4 minutes. And I apologize, beautiful friend who posted this. I cannot see your face or your name. How does one practice patience? I'd love for you to answer briefly, like your 30-second answer. I'll answer that, and then we'll close it out.
Wow. It's a really tough one, actually, isn't it? Patience is not something that we ever learn growing up. I think for me, it's being willing to let go of what I think should happen, or my tendency to just keep doing the next thing and then the next thing and the next thing to try to fix something. So that's all perfectionism, right? We're trying to make ourselves perfect when actually we already are perfect.
Yep.
So seeing that patience is really allowing what's so right now to just be what's so. The way your bank account looks, your way the relationship looks, the way your physical body looks, just be with it. And don't try to fix it or change it. Just be with it and allow it. As long as you're intending and using your brain and your mind to get to, I don't want to say get, to heal, to be transformed, you will. There's divine timing to all of this. You can't say when it's supposed to happen. You don't have that big picture that the higher beings do. So it's a lot of surrender and a lot of tapping into your connection to the higher self and connection to your guidance system. And that's basically all I help people do. But it's a very, very powerful thing to learn. My child just turned 4. He's not going to be 10 or 18 now. He's going to be 4 for a whole year, and be okay with that. Like, you are where you're at. It's okay. And it's actually perfect.
Yeah. I'm just going to add my quick 2 cents. Exactly. You hit it on the head. For me, it's progress over perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I know I'm whole, perfect, and complete, I still have a little bit of PTSD with the word perfect, right? A lot of people do. Even my daughter, she's like, Mom, I'm not perfect. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I love you. It's all good. Just surrendering to what is and creating as much spaciousness as you can in your day. Because before, I was the human doing, like a machine. People couldn't believe it. I'd be up at 5:30 and I could be on a Zoom already and go until like 9 or 10 at night. And that was at the beginning of the pandemic, right? And I was like, this is just not sustainable. And that's when I started, surrendering, reading the book, The Surrender Experiment, and then truly realizing I choose to create more spaciousness.
Yeah.
And guess what? I started having more of that progress over perfection, and patience just started. It took me a year to get there, I think, and I'm still working on that. It's a journey. So I just want to remind you guys, Monica and I are here for you. If anything resonated with you today, first of all, sign up and attend the podcast anniversary event on the 20th and the 21st. There's huge prizes, giveaways, coaching. I'm sure Monica will probably throw something in. I haven't talked to her about it yet, so I'm not going to quote anything, but you're going to want to be a part of that, as well as check out loiscoffey.com/membership. And if not for you, who do you know that wants to transform their sales career, their marriage, their health, their life, and truly be independent and freeing their minds? We want to help them. So Monica's inside my membership. I've got amazing people, other healers, teachers, facilitators of transformation for you to live your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Last thought, if you saw value in today, please hit the share button. sharing is caring, especially in these times. The next 6 to 12 months is going to be an intense ride. And we'd love for you or your friends in your community to be a part of our membership so they can have the true independence and freedom that is their birthright. Thank you so much, Monica, for being here.
You bet.
Appreciate you. And we'll see you guys all again soon. Have a safe holiday weekend, everybody.
Thank you, Lois.